Now back to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back, Kentucky Sports Radio. Matt Jones, Ryan Lemon, now joined here in person by Secretary of State Alison Lundergan Grimes. So what do I call you? Secretary, Alison, I can't do Secretary Lundergan Grimes. It's too many syllables.
I grew up in a family of 5 girls. Alyssa, Abby, Allison, Ashley, and Amy. Hey, you is really what I go by.
All A's?
All A's. All A's. Just Allison, though.
All right. We can do that, Ryan. We can do Allison. Now, give me a little background. Tell me, where did you grow up? Because I don't really know a whole lot about you except that you shoot a gun. That's really all that I know so far.
Born and raised here in Kentucky, a homegrown Kentucky gal. Grew up actually in Lexington, but born a fighter 3 months before the doctors or my parents expected me to in Mason County. That's my hometown. That's where both of my grandparents are from. But I lived in Lexington my entire life until I went away for college. And
you went to Rhodes, right, in Memphis?
I did.
I have a friend who went to Rhodes. They talk about you at Rhodes. They're very happy about it. It's like Trancy, but in Memphis a little bit.
We've got a very excited alumni base down at Rhodes College, and when it was time to work, came back to Kentucky, and I've been here ever since.
Now, are you a UK fan?
I am.
All right,
I bleed blue.
All right, who's your favorite player on the team?
Right now or history?
Right now.
Right now, well, it's kind of hard pressed. We've got such a deep bench, but I just am a fan of Alex Poythress.
Oh, you like Alex Poythress?
I do. I think he's beat a lot of odds. He continues to inspire. There's nobody that when you see him on the court that gets excited. He brings everybody together. So I'm excited about the whole team.
Now, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but are you a UK fan? Do you know the whole roster, follow recruiting, or do you just watch the games? What level of UK fan are we talking about?
Well, my husband and I live across from Rupp Arena. If that tells you anything, we determined that we needed to live there because he could literally finish a beer from the back of our driveway to the end before you get into a UK game.
I've seen your husband at the games. He seems like a happy guy at the game.
Well, I've not gotten to go to as many this year, but we've been all across the state. But I do follow the team and just excited about the team that we have this upcoming year. It could be the Wildcats versus the Arizona Wildcats.
Oh, well, that's true. Look at it. You know the thing. Now, let me ask you about when it was a Kentucky show. What about Louisville? Now, my guess is if you grew up a Kentucky fan, you didn't like Louisville because no Kentucky fans like Louisville. But when you run for office, you at least have to act like you like Louisville. I know that. So how do you handle this Kentucky-Louisville dichotomy? Do you cheer for Louisville or not?
Well, you're excited for all Kentucky schools, but when it comes to UK versus U of L, I cheer for the blue and white, and am excited.
Are you really excited about all Kentucky schools?
Well, yes. We've got a lot to be proud of. Despite what Mitch McConnell thinks, we actually have not one but 2 championship teams in this state, and one of them is not Duke. So I'm very excited.
You liked when he made that mistake, didn't you?
I think it just showed how out of touch he is, how totally gone Washington he is. The biggest problem with him is not that he cheers for Louisville, which he does.
That's my biggest
or
problem.
2, that he thinks Duke's in Kentucky, which it's not. But it's that he ships thousands of jobs, good Kentucky jobs that we need overseas. We disagree on a lot of things, and basketball, obviously, one of them.
Well, what I want to do is, because a lot of people listening don't follow this, okay? A lot of people listening to this show, they know this stuff sort of like Ryan, on this, and they kind of start picking up a race right now. So I want to ask you the things that I think people might just say, you know what does she think about this? And I want to start with the thing that most people talk about, which is the gun ad. Now, I have to tell you, I'm going to be completely open on this. I looked at that ad and I go, what's that about? What does shooting a gun have to do with being in the Senate? What was your reasoning for that, and what were you trying to convey with the fact I can shoot a gun and Mitch can't?
Well, I think it shows the steady hand that I've had over the course of my tenure as Secretary of State, what I will have in the United States Senate. I disagree with the president on many issues. Unfortunately, Mitch McConnell's the only one that doesn't realize that. He has run this race, $40 million spent in negative, nasty ads against me. But it's not been on the substance that we have been put forth. He has actually run a race, another referendum on the president. I think Kentucky Kentuckians know that Barack Obama is not on the ballot. And this election, it's about not only who can work with the current president, but who can work with the president after that, no matter who he or she might be, the 4 years that are remaining. This is a 6-year term.
When you say you're not Obama, clearly, now, again, I like Obama. I may be the only person in the state left that does, but I do. But it's clear he's not popular in this state. When you say I'm not like Obama, give me like 3 things, 2 or 3 things that Obama thinks that you are different than him on.
Well, we disagree, as you saw in that ad.
On what?
On guns, on coal, on the
like how? Like, give me specifics. How do you disagree with him on guns, for instance?
Well, I don't think that we need to make it harder for our families, for instance, grandparents, to pass down to their grandchildren their shooting rifles. That's what President Obama would try to do. I believe in the Second Amendment and support the rights of individuals to bear arms. And pretty good shot. Actually invited Mitch McConnell to come to the gun range, but he's yet to show up.
What does that have to do with anything? If he, I mean, I can't shoot a gun. Does that mean I can't be a senator?
Well, I just hoped he had better aim than Dick Cheney, and actually came out. But like with all of the committee meetings that he has missed, he's absent, out of touch with Kentuckians. But
so would you do any? In the wake of the school shootings and stuff, is there any more gun control that you believe should be done?
I believe that it is worth having a discussion to actually work to close the gun show loophole that we see.
Okay.
It shouldn't have different standards when you go to a gun store versus gun shows.
You would close the gun show loophole.
I think that it's worthwhile.
Would you ban any assault weapons that exist right now?
I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment, and I don't think that banning weapons is the way to actually help to reduce the violence that we see here in the United States. It's working to make sure that we educate people and we enforce the law.
So all guns that are available now, you're fine with?
I think that I believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, and I hope perhaps before these next 40 days are up, people will actually get to see that I can actually shoot a gun and debate Mitch McConnell at the same time. Wouldn't that be a fun debate?
We will get to that. Coal.
Yeah.
What is it now? Obama. I'm from Eastern Kentucky. There was a time that Eastern Kentucky always voted Democrat because of the coal miners, et cetera. That has changed in large part, I think, because of, and this is the one place where I disagree with Obama a lot, is on coal. What specifically has Obama done vis-a-vis coal that you would not have done?
Well, I disagree not only with the president, but with Mitch McConnell. When it comes to coal here in Kentucky, it does keep the lights on. It's thousands of good-paying jobs. Under Mitch McConnell's watch, though, we've lost more coal jobs than we can afford to lose because we haven't had someone that's actually fought to bring the research and technology to make affordable, clean coal technology affordable here in our state so that we could meet EPA standards. We haven't had somebody that could actually rein in the EPA.
But do you think those standards are too high? The EPA, a lot of those standards have gone up. Some of them actually started with Bush, but also with Obama, they've gone up. Do you think the standards for quote-unquote clean coal are too high?
I think we have to rein in the EPA. I think the regulations as they exist now are overburdensome. And what the president doesn't realize and what Mitch McConnell has failed to convey is that we need to restore coal to its rightful place as a prime American export. It does have a vital place in our nation's energy policy, but we've got to have somebody there that can actually advocate for it. Nobody wants to sit down with Mitch McConnell. Nobody even listens to him anymore. Even his own party, they go around him because what he has done is put partisan politics before the people of this state, and we have to change that.
Do you believe in climate change?
I do. Mitch McConnell and I differ on this. He still wants to argue with the scientists. I do believe it exists, but I think that we have to address, especially leaving this world in a better place in a balanced manner. We've got to keep the jobs that we have here in the state, especially our good coal jobs, fight for them. But we have to diversify our economies in eastern and western Kentucky. You know this, Matt. You're from eastern Kentucky, Bell County. You know that Mitch McConnell hasn't fought for the infrastructure we need, the very roads to make eastern and western Kentucky profitable, to bring businesses. He hasn't fought for connectivity, all things that you can do to diversify the economy and make a brighter future.
Do you believe marijuana should be legal?
Well, I think that the current laws that are on the books, we've got to follow. But this past General Assembly
I know we have to follow, but if you were the one in charge, if a bill came before the Senate that said in America the recreational use of marijuana would be allowed, would you vote for it or not?
Well, this past General Assembly session, we saw cannabis oil, the arguments that were made before the state General Assembly on how it could actually help children with severe disorders. And I was very much in favor of that. I'm in favor of having the discussion, especially to reclassify the use of marijuana. We haven't had a senator that's even wanted to have those discussions, though.
But that's still not an answer. I mean, would you vote if a bill came up, let's say like in Colorado, which says marijuana, to legalize marijuana, would you vote for that or not? I mean, I appreciate the phrase "let's have a discussion," but that doesn't get me anywhere.
Do you know Mitch McConnell was at a fundraiser?
Let me ask you what you think on that.
He was at a fundraiser recently, and someone asked him what he thought about the legalization of marijuana out in Colorado. He didn't even realize that it had been legalized. He didn't even realize the economic benefits that have been seen.
Okay, you realize it, though, so would you vote for it?
I realize that I would want to have the discussion, and I think it's worthwhile to bring the experts together and talk about the reclassification, especially for medical purposes.
All right. Gay marriage. Do you believe gay people in America across the board should be able to get married?
I respect churches and their teachings, and I don't expect any church to adhere to something that's not in keeping with their teachings. But my husband and I, who's standing right there behind Shannon. Watch out, Shannon.
Wait a minute. We'll get to Shannon. But on that issue.
We've been married for 8 years, and I think that others across this nation here in Kentucky deserve that same ability to make that same commitment.
So, yes, you would.
Again, my hope is that we can move forward. And I know that all of Kentucky doesn't agree with this philosophy. But, again, I've been married to my husband for 8 years, and I hope that others have the same opportunity to make that same commitment.
For Bill Clinton won this state both times he ran. Obama lost by a lot both times he ran. For you to win, you're going to have to get some of those people that voted for Clinton to vote for you that voted against Obama. That's probably 15 or 20% of Kentuckians. If you get those people, you're going to win. If you don't get those people, you're going to lose. It's probably that simple. If you're one of those people, and I'm sure some of those people are listening, they probably don't like Senator McConnell that much, but they probably think you're more like Obama than Clinton. How do you get those 15 to 20%? If you're talking to one of those people, what would you say is why they should vote for you instead of the senator?
Well, first and foremost, I am a Clinton Democrat. My family actually has been friends with the Clinton family for a very long time. President Clinton been here in the state twice already. First campaign he came in to be a part of during the election season was this campaign. I believe, as he does, that we have to grow the middle class and put hardworking Kentuckians back to work. That is the number one issue in this race, is how we make sure that the middle class of Kentucky and of this nation is able to thrive and expand. Mitch McConnell's put his interest and his bearings with the millionaires and the billionaires at the expense of hardworking Kentuckians here in the state. They are looking for someone that can finally put the partisan politics aside and put the people of this state first. That is what President Clinton did so well. That is what we are doing in this United States Senate race, and that's what we will do when we go to Washington, D.C.
One of the things that happens in an election is, and Shannon and I talk about this, one side says, oh, she's awful, and then you say he's awful. So I always like to ask this. Tell me something good you think Mitch McConnell has done. He can't be all bad, right? So tell me something good you think he's done.
Well, in 30 years, I do think the senator probably went there with the best intentions. But after being there 3 decades, Washington has changed Mitch McConnell. His priorities have been misplaced. When you can't recall not just one but 2 championship teams from here in Kentucky, you got a problem, especially when you highlight Duke and what's great about the Commonwealth.
But in 30 years, you don't think he's done anything right? I mean, he has to have done something right.
I think his priorities are misplaced. He has put the millionaires and billionaires ahead of the people of Kentucky. He has literally quadrupled his net worth, become a multimillionaire, and every time the people of this state have asked for an increase in the minimum wage, 18 times he said no. He has said that Wall Street can have a better interest rate than our students in actually being able to go
But
to
these
college.
are more things he did wrong. I'm just asking you, I remember George Bush in the debates, he was asked, name a mistake you made, and he couldn't make one. And I was like, how can you not name? I make a mistake every day. There's got to be something you think he's done right.
I'm sure John Short's going to call in and tell us about all the mistakes we're making here today as well. But I wouldn't be in this race if I thought what we had now was working. Washington just isn't working for Kentucky, especially the middle class of this state and of this nation. And after 30 years, Mitch McConnell's at the center of the gridlock and the obstruction, the partisanship we see. He has told us we give him another 6 years, we can expect yet another government shutdown.
Well, on that point, let me ask you this. There are people out there who would say this. If Mitch wins, there's a good chance the Republicans take the Senate and he'll be the majority leader. And I've heard people say, won't we as Kentuckians get more having our senator as the majority leader than having a freshman senator potentially in the minority party? How would you respond to that?
Well, I would say that Mitch McConnell has failed to deliver for Kentucky for a long time now. And the recent lapse of the Farm Bill shows that he doesn't have any leadership in Washington. In fact, his party goes around him to pass comprehensive immigration reform, the bill that came out of the Senate, to pass the ultimate farm bill. The days and the era of the earmark are over. We have to have a senator who has a record, as I do, of actually reaching across the aisle and working in a bipartisan manner to bring Democrats, Republicans, and independents together. That's what is missing right now. That's what we have to have, somebody that can put the people instead of partisan politics first.
Just got about 4 or 5 minutes left, so I'm going to get through here. Do you agree? Would you, if a vote came up to repeal Obamacare, what would you vote?
I've said that the Affordable Care Act here in this state, Connect, we have over 500,000 people who are getting insurance for the first time. It's not perfect. We've got to work to fix it, but we've got to have a senator there that wants to fix it.
So you would not vote to repeal?
I would work to continue to fix Connect. We have seen our governor's courage actually help people get insurance for the first time, get checkups and prescriptions filled, go to actually see a doctor before school starts. These are all good things. Mitch McConnell refuses to realize the lives that are at stake here in the state because he just wants to put out overheated and inflamed political party rhetoric. We can't have any more of that.
I hope you understand how I'm saying this. It is just more of a personal question. 3 or 4 months ago, you were tied in all the polls. Now, most of them have you down 4, 6, 8. I know you have an internal poll that has you ahead, but most of them have you down 4, 6, 8. Why do you think that is?
Well, all the polls that have been out there for over a year and a half, with the exception of one outlier, they've had us even or ahead. It's funny, when we were ahead for the press, it was still within the margin of error. But we are within the margin of error.
But it has gone down.
Our internals have shown that we are up. And Reuters this week came out with a poll that did the same thing, showed the same thing. After $40 million, an ad every 5 minutes, Mitch McConnell has not bought his way back to Washington, D.C. The hardworking people of Kentucky, the grassroots coalition that we have assembled, they're ready for someone that can finally put them first, an independent thinker that can balance the budget the right way, and that's not on the backs of our seniors, and it's not by making the arbitrary, mindless sequester cuts that Mitch McConnell champions.
Shannon thought you looked good shooting a gun.
Yeah.
I thought Shannon and I were going to go on a shooting date.
I would love to, but I didn't know you had a husband who's right here behind me about to break my neck.
Behind Shannon. Now we've got a couple.
Now I think I could teach Shannon to shoot, but I just think Mitch McConnell might be a lost cause.
I need to know how to hold a gun for sure.
Ryan gets one question with each candidate, and to be honest with you, it worries me. But Ryan,
I was hoping he might do his impression. This is the closest I might come to a debate, is being right.
All right, Ryan, go ahead. Would you like to do your Mitch McConnell for Senator Grimes?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Matthew, to come in this morning. I believe in the pursuit of happiness and the agony of defeat in our forefathers. I was one of the forefathers, Allison. Did you know that?
What does that mean?
Well,
yes, at the first Congress convened in Philadelphia, yes.
I have a ton of questions. There's all kinds of questions in my head. Like, why does Mickey Mouse wear a top and no bottom, and Donald Duck wear a bottom and no top? But I have some things I hope you can help me out because for the life of me, when I travel across the state up from my 80 years of office with my wife, what's her name, Matthew?
Elaine
Janet Reno. What's it?
Ask your question.
When we go out in the state, I stay up at night trying to figure out why isn't Hopkinsville and Hopkins County and Madisonville and Madison County and Nicholasville and Nicholas County. How can you help me with that? And
all right, that's enough. Turn his mic off. Go ahead.
I think, Senator, it just shows how out of touch you are with this state. After 30 years, you truly have gone Washington. 120 amazing counties here in the state.
Ryan, is that too many, by the way?
Ryan, you always had it perfect. You just had to, in there, not make any meetings over the course of the past 5 years, and most importantly, ship thousands of jobs overseas. You'd be right on the mark.
All right, 1 minute left. I would like to have a debate on this show.
I would too.
You versus Mitch McConnell with myself, not Ryan, and maybe one other person moderating. If we were to have a debate on this show, would you come?
I would love to.
Seriously? Would you challenge him to a debate on this show?
I challenged him at Fancy Farm to meet me in.
I don't care about the other places. How about right here? Would you have a debate on this show?
I would welcome that. Honestly, Kentucky, as a result of Mitch McConnell, we have a quarter of the state that is lacking connectivity. He votes against actually expanding connectivity across the state. Radio, especially in the rural parts of our state, would reach so many Kentuckians, and that's what this campaign is about.
So you're on. If I get Senator McConnell, you're on.
I stand ready and willing to debate
Get this clip. You're not going to back out if I get Senator McConnell.
I look forward to debating Mitch McConnell here and at numerous other locations across Kentucky.
All right.
I just hope he'll show up.
You got the clip.
We got it.
Secretary Grimes, thank you very much for taking the time.
And happy birthday to John Short. Isn't today his birthday?
I think it is, yeah.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
Happy birthday to John Short.
Yeah.
How did she know that and we didn't know that?
John Short already called in.
He already called.
He didn't even mention it.
Wow. Well.
Same treatment you gave him.
No
or he gave you.
I'm sorry, John Short. Happy birthday. Secretary Grimes, thank you very much. Senator McConnell, you're on the clock. Hope he'll come in. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. This is Kentucky Sports Radio.